Major production funding for Game Notes is provided by Hargrove Engineers and Constructors is proud to support LPB. Since 1995, Hargrove has been employee-owned and relationship-driven. With 2,700 teammates around the world, Hargrove works as one team to go beyond expectations.
You have what it takes to begin your journey: curiosity, ingenuity, intellect, determination. Through a vast portfolio of affordable and in-demand academic programs, hundreds of student-focused activities, and wraparound services, Southern University meets you where you are, giving you the tools and support that lead you to a successful career in the sciences or the arts. Begin with your goals anywhere. Finish stronger at Southern University at subr.edu.
The Rolf Pugh Agency is proud to support this program. Based in Louisiana, Rolf Pugh has provided marketing services nationwide since 1981, partnering with clients in healthcare, retail, automotive, and more. For more information, visit rpagency.com.
With additional support from Lafayette Travel, the LSU Alumni Association, and the Cook Hotel and Conference Center at LSU, Louisiana Tech University, Natchitoches Regional Medical Center, Northwestern State University, Red Stick Sports, the U.S. Army Baton Rouge Recruiting Battalion, the Foundation for Excellence in Louisiana Public Broadcasting, and viewers like you. Thank you.
Well, hi, everybody. It's great to have you with us for this edition of Postgame Notes on LPB. Alongside my Super Bowl champ partner, Scott Shanley, I'm Victor Howell. We've closed out the regular season now in college football. I feel like, are there things to talk about? I feel like we should have like a big circus tent over South Louisiana right now because you're supposed to be talking about the end of the season and the way teams play. There's a lot going on as we say goodbye to the season.
Yeah, we have an hour show, and there's a lot of football to talk about, but there's also a lot of business side of football to talk about, too. A lot of sought-after coaches, which means there's a lot of good football being played in the state of Louisiana when you have this many teams coming after and pillaging your coaches out of the state. But it's been a really good year for a lot of teams and a really good year for a lot of these coaches. And
there was a lot of drama set up on Saturday for a lot of teams in our state. So here's what we're going to talk about over the next 60 minutes here on Game Notes, and we will start by focusing in on the Ragin Cajuns from UL Lafayette. They needed to get a win to make it 4 in a row so they could go bowling. We'll show you the rematch, the matchup they had against ULM. How about the Green Wave down in New Orleans taking on Charlotte, where a win would guarantee that Tulane would host the American Conference Championship. Plus, we'll go to Norman, Oklahoma, the first time the LSU Tigers made a trip there as they closed out the regular season trying to upset and knock Oklahoma out of the playoff picture. All of that is still to come here in the next 60 minutes on LPB. But let's start down in the city of New Orleans for the showcase game in the HBCU, and that's Southern and Grambling in the 52nd annual Bayou Classic. You know, when we left the studio on Saturday after Game Notes, we were talking amongst ourselves, and one of our studio photogs, member of our crew, V, said, hey, you left one game out you didn't want to talk about, and that was Southern and Grambling. And my answer was, I don't want to touch it because it's a huge rivalry game, and I've seen crazier things happen. Well, crazy showed up in New Orleans on Saturday. What a ball game we had between the Jags and the Grambling Tigers. Let's get right to it because it was some kind of a show, as it always is, down in the Dome. Jaguars taking the field, looking for their first win since week 1. Remember, they played week 0, so their second game was their one and only win, and here come the Grambling Tigers. Cameron McCoy gets the start at quarterback for the Southern Jags. First play, right side, 13 yards on the gain. 3rd and 9, but the Tigers defense breaks through. They get the sack. Tyrell Raby gets it's a loss of 9. 4 minutes to go now in the first quarter as we fast forward to Grambling. Hayden Benoit, how good has he been at quarterback for the Tigers when they needed him to step up? He hits Andrew Frazier. Looks like he's gone. Great effort by the Jaguar defense to track him down from behind. It's still a 70-yard game. Next play, though, Benoit to Barron Miles Jr., 9 yards, and the Tigers are on the scoreboard first. It's 7-0 Grambling. Early second quarter, Ashton Struther is now in at quarterback. This pass is high, and it's picked off by Raby, the same guy that had the sack a few minutes ago. So now he's got a big sack. Now he's got a huge interception and takes it the other way. 2 plays later, Scott, watch the touch from Benoit to Keith Jones Jr. on this 28-yard touchdown.
This is a nice job just layering the ball over the top, and I'll tell you what, I've seen a quarterback do this quite a few times in that Superdome. That's a heck of a throw in the red zone right there to the corner.
14-0 Grambling on top. Now, next series, Struther is heading out of bounds, and watch, he is going to take a vicious shot late out of bounds. Personal foul. Target, he could have been thrown out of the ball game. 2 teams had to meet. Thankfully, Struther would walk off the field, but guess what? That's when the fire was lit for Southern. Cameron McCoy is back in the quarterback, watch him roll out left and then hit Khalil Harris. 27 yards on that dart, and he gets out of bounds. A few plays later, Trey takes it into the end zone. First touchdown of the day for the Jags, and it's 14-7. Grambling on top. Fred McNair likes what he sees. 17-7 now, Grambling. A minute into the third quarter. Barry Remo bounces off of defenders, and he's gone. 51 yards on the touchdown, and the Jags now trail 17-14. But the Tigers respond. They drive right down the field. Andre Cruz from 3 yards out. It's 24-14. Look, we've seen Southern story. This is where they fold in the second half. They just don't have enough in the tank. This is where they have problems. Or do they? Early fourth quarter, Trey untouched. 9 yards up the middle. It's 24-21. Next possession, Grambling goes for a 52-yard field goal from Josh McCormick. Left hash. It looks good. Mickey Joseph, you betcha. It's good. 27-21, Grambling on top. Next play from scrimmage. Barry Remo again up the middle, 35 yards into Grambling territory down at the 40. Now it's 2nd and 16. And McCoy to Khalil Harris again. Down the middle, he gets past the defenders. 34 yards. The Jags are scoring in the second half, and now they're up by 1. Under 4 minutes to go. 4th and 4. McCormick from 54 and the lead. It's no good, but wait. Watch what happens. It was 4th and 4. That's a 5-yard penalty hitting the kicker. Grambling keeps the ball, but the defense holds. Now it's a 43-yard field goal, and it's wide left. But 2:18 on the clock. The Tigers' defense holds, forces Southern to punt. 35 seconds to go. You're back in field goal range. 1st and 10, but you got to hold on to the ball. The Tigers don't. It's a bad exchange. Andre Cruz loses the ball. Demetrius Walker. Scott, that's his one and only tackle of the game. And Kelby Givens, Mr. Everything, jumps on it. Pandemonium on the Southern sideline.
What a game. What a ball game in the Dome. Two teams battling it out, and there's nothing like Southern versus Grambling. And for it to end that way, disappointing on one side, but elation on the other side. And a great job by Coach McNair this year to finish off the season.
4th straight win for the Jags in the Bayou Classic. Here's Fred McNair afterwards.
You know, at this time point, you know, when you're playing the Bayou Classic, playing a good Grambling football team, hats off to Coach Mickey Joseph and his football program. Fine, outstanding classic group of men. They did a fine job. But what we did, we tried to overcome all our adversities during the course of this year. And we put together a good game plan to come in and focus on what we had to do on the course of the Bayou Classic. And my biggest thing was to these young men, don't give up. Don't ever give up. If you give up on this with something that you love, you give up on life. And these guys that hung in there and they fought very hard in what they did. Very deserving. I can't speak no highly about this coaching staff that we have and the way these guys hung in there each and every week with the ups and downs and the battles and the bruises of the football program that was wounded and kept getting up fighting. And these young men showed a lot of character with the things that they love to do. They came out and played with a lot of effort. Personally, I just the understanding of where I'm at during the career of football and getting to understand the dynamic of coaching and you know, coming in and being an interim coach and leading this team forward to a Bayou Classic, you know, it means a lot to me. The way these guys hung in there and the way these players fought and the way these coaches just stood behind me and did all the right things they're supposed to do. You know, as a head coach of a football program, you always try to find edges and things to do to overcome all the things that we've been through during the course of the year. Many nights I've driven home from the stadium to the house and just trying to think of some encouraging words for the next day. You know, countless hours of nights I didn't sleep, you know, just worried about this program and where it's going to go, worried about the young men and the things that they have to do to stay above water. So it's been very pleasing to me to become the interim coach of this football program.
Southern riding a 3-game win streak into the Bayou Classic, now make it 4 in a row over their biggest rival in North Louisiana. Barry Remo, 7 rushes for 100 yards and a touchdown. Hayden Benoit, he has been outstanding for Grambling at the quarterback position since stepping in. They've had to go through multiple quarterbacks, as has Southern. 16 of 32 for 221 yards and 2 touchdowns, but sacked 4 times by that Grambling defense. And then the biggest play of the game at the end when Demetrius Walker gets his only tackle, gets into the backfield, and Southern gets the win. 28-27. And now you know why I didn't want to talk about that game amongst us, because, Scott, it's a rivalry game. And the scene you saw at the end in the background, the pandemonium, the chaos on the Southern bench, that is a team that has been waiting for that all season long. They got one win at Mississippi Valley to go 1-1 on the season. This was a team picked to win the West in the SWAC. They did not know that it would be 90 days later before they could celebrate again, but you could see they've been trying, they've come up short, they've had their struggles. Then to get it against your biggest rival on a nationally televised stage, what a way to end the season for the Jags.
And that's the definition of, you always hear people say, and it's kind of a cliche, you could throw the records out when rivals play, but this is exactly why. It doesn't matter what has happened all season long. You've had one win against the Grambling team, who's had some really bright moments this year, went through a lot of quarterback injuries, but really a bright year for Coach Joseph. And to go in there and win it and to fight all the way to the end, and to see Coach McNair celebrating with his team and then listening to him talk there, he's done a heck of a job. And those are the battles coaches go through. Driving home at night, how do I keep encouraging this team? They've won one game. It's easy to give up and just say we'll move on to the next year, but he had this team fighting all the way to the end.
And it also shows, doesn't it, that sometimes you just need that little something happen to give you belief. All season long, Southern's biggest struggles have been in the second half. It's been self-inflicted wounds with the turnovers. It's been the inability to score and slow teams down. Then all of a sudden, Trey Holly gets a touchdown. You make a big play in the second half. Grambling comes right back down the field and scores. But then you get that first play with Remo, the run 35 yards. Now you're at the 40, and all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, we can do this again. Yeah. That's what Southern's been missing all season long, and then to be able to pull it off in the final game.
Yeah, and you need everybody to want to play football, but the guys you really need to want to play football are on the offensive line and defensive line. And yesterday, Southern, over 200 yards rushing, sophomore running back Barry Remo, 7 carries for 100 yards and a touchdown. Outstanding day. So Southern, when you run the football like that, you told everybody, we showed up to the game today, wherever you're playing, stadium, dome, wherever, we showed up with an attitude that we're going to control the line of scrimmage, and they did that in the running game.
And a tough loss as we go to Grambling here for a moment, because remember, last week they lost on the road. They had 18 players suspended because of the fight that happened with Bethune-Cookman. Then you get the players back, and to come down riding momentum, get that quick start, you get on the scoreboard twice early. But once again, that downfall, when you look at the other side of the ball, they've been there for 3 years and lost for 3 years in the biggest game. Then all of a sudden it's like, uh-oh. Here they come again. Are we going to lose it again? There were opportunities late, but 2 missed field goals, and then the unfortunate with the exchange.
Yeah, and it really comes down to the end of the game, just not finishing the game, because like we saw 2 missed field goals, could have possibly won the game. And then at the end, it just looked like a simple read option play. Not sure if the quarterback was supposed to give it or not, but more of a credit to the defensive end for kind of baiting the quarterback into giving the ball and then chasing him down the line of scrimmage and creating a game-changing play. That's really what the game comes down to. Everybody has chalkboards. Everybody has X's and O's they draw up. Now, what do those X's and O's do after the ball snapped? And credit to Southern, they made the plays when they counted most.
Both teams have battled quarterback position all season long with injuries and losses, both teams having young men that stepped up. And now for the Jaguars moving forward, as we talked about on Saturday's show, you carry some momentum for your potential new coach, because it's been reported that as soon as Monday we might hear an announcement on the Bluff that they're getting a new head coach, and it's somebody who's got NFL experience, has been spending time at Colorado, and somebody I know on the personal level. You like this hire for Southern, don't you?
Yeah, head coach Marshall Faulk, I think it was fitting yesterday that Southern ran the ball so well. The running backs had a great day because they got a Pro Football Hall of Famer running back coming to be their coach, and I'm extremely excited about this hire. I know Marshall's excited about it. He's just a student of the game. He's going to build young men. It's going to be interesting to see how he what his input is on the offensive side of the ball. He played for Mike Martz in St. Louis with the Rams, with the greatest show on turf. Will the ball be flying around? Will it be more run central? So, obviously he was on Coach Prime's staff there in Colorado for a year, but he's going to be a leader of men and do an outstanding job in that department.
And that's a Louisiana name that's coming back to Louisiana, and you certainly have to think that there were young men who are looking at wanting to go to Southern and maybe had their doubts and were questioning with the struggles the Jaguars have had. All it takes is that one win, and you get it over your biggest rival. On top of that, you're bringing an NFL guy in to be your new head coach. That could be some momentum that this program needs to now progress forward.
No doubt. Don't ever underestimate the end of the season, how you finish it. Even as the last game of the year, we talked about it a couple weeks ago. We talked about McNeese and Nichols. The springboard of that last game, that last taste you have in your mouth as a player, you either feel it or you don't go into the next season. It changes a lot. It changes kids from thinking about, maybe I need to go to the portal, maybe I need to go to a different program, or no, we have something established here. We played our best football at the end of the season. Let's ride this into 2026.
Well, that was an incredible story down in New Orleans. There was also a big story unfolding in Lafayette on Saturday. That's because the Ragin Cajuns were back home knowing they needed to get a win to make it 4 for 4 to close out the year to make them bowl eligible for the 8th straight season. But standing in their way, an in-state rival, the Warhawks from UL Monroe, making the trip down I-49 to Lafayette, looking to play spoiler. Hey, the game's kicking off afternoon, Scott. Look, it's no big deal if we get there 10, 15 minutes late. Or you could be there and miss this. Jacob Green, opening kick, 96 yards. He takes it. We are 12 seconds into the ball game, and the Cajuns have a 7-0 lead immediately. But guess what? ULM answers right away. Aiden Armenta, watch him roll and go downfield 52 yards to Nick Trujillo, and it's down at the 25-yard line. That combination worked so well there, let's do it again. Next play, same combo. 25 yards on the touchdown. What an answer by the Warhawks. The extra point is missed. It's 7-6 Cajuns. Next Warhawk possession, Zach Palmer-Smith. That running back room is so deep there at ULM. It's leg day, Scott. It's leg day. We're pushing them all into the end zone. 7 yards on the touchdown, and it's 13-7. First mistake comes mid-first quarter, right when the rains came. In fact, crowds were going underneath there at the stadium. Aiden Armenta fumbles the snap, loses the ball. Ashley Williams jumps on it for the Cajuns. A 5-play drive, and Steven Blanco takes it in from 4 yards out. It's 14-13 Cajuns. Now, the only scoring in the second quarter came on this 55-yard field goal from Tony Sterner. What a great kick, and right down the pipe. It's good, and it's 17-13 Cajuns at the half. Same score as we jump forward to the fourth quarter. First play, Armenta to Jonathan Bibbs. He makes one move and he's gone. 68 yards on the sprint to the end zone, and the Warhawks now have the lead in the fourth quarter, 20-17. And we're just getting started in the fourth. Later in the quarter, on 4th and 1, there's our guy, Bill Davis. It's a little seam, and look at him go.
Bill Davis, he's been outstanding in the running game all year for the Ragin Cajuns. And right there, if you don't stay in your gap on defense, this is what's going to happen to you.
76 yards on the touchdown. It's 24-20, but we're not done. Next ULM possession, 5 plays. On 3rd and 13, Armenta to Trujillo again. His third touchdown of the afternoon, 27-24. ULM is back on top. Now it's 3rd and 8. Walker Howard back in the game. Why? Lunch Winfield got banged up, but Howard staying strong, rolling out, finds Davis. 26 yards on this conversion on 3rd and 8. And it's a first down. Now 4th and 4. Tony Sterner from 30. It's good. ULM had a pass to go into the end zone to try to win it. The pass was too long, so we go to overtime. And in overtime, Hunter Herring is in at quarterback. As good as Armenta is all day, I have to think he was in for some sort of a trick play, but instead, he throws it, and that's a bad idea. He's picked off on 3rd and 7 in the end zone, so now any scoring play for the Cajuns will win it. On the first play, Walker Howard on the keeper, getting a wall of blockers, and it's 20 yards down to the 7-yard line. Now, the Warhawk defense would hold for 3 plays inside the 5, but remember, any score wins it, and on 4th down, it's a chip shot for Sterner, and it's good. And the Ragin Cajuns make it 4 in a row to become bowl eligible, getting the win over ULM 30-27. Post-game comments.
They returned the kickoff on the opening kickoff for a touchdown. Okay, it's one play. And the message to the team was, hey, stay the course. Stay the course. Stay the course. Don't panic, don't blink. And then we were able to answer, and then we were able to get right back in it. So tells you a lot about these kids, man. Tells you a lot about this program, and really just the culture of what we've been throughout this season. And you got to be willing to go through these seasons and not bend and not break and not get negative and not point fingers and not make excuses. And once we get there, we won't look back. We won't look back. And part of it sometimes, unfortunately, is going through times like these. But we're not scared of it, and we're not backing down from it. And we'll continue to build.
It's just what these guys are, man. They scratch and they claw, and I think it was really important for them to send the seniors out with a win some way, somehow. What a group of people to be able to find a way to come back from 2-6 to win 4 in a row and give ourselves an opportunity to hopefully get in a bowl game here. So I'm sitting here really humble, really grateful, and incredibly proud of the people that come to work in our building every day.
I just tried to lead by example. I'm not really like a vocal guy off the field, so I just tried to show them, come to work every day and just work. No matter what happens, no matter the situation, no matter the injuries, no matter what you're going through, just come here and work. So I feel like, that's all you need to do. Like, no matter what happens, control what you can control and just go to work.
It's overtime, but the Cajuns get it. What a run, having lost at Troy and knowing you need to get 4 in a row, but the Cajuns do it. They get 10 points off of 2 Warhawk turnovers in a game that was decided by 3. What a day for Aiden Armenta, 19 of 31 for 311 and 3 touchdowns. And Jaden Duggar, who you just heard from, 16 tackles, 2 sacks, and 3 tackles for loss. You played defense, 16 tackles. Is that a lot? Is that good?
That is a heck of a stat line. But you know what? If you watched at all ULL all year and you've looked at the box score and the stats after each one of their games, Jaden Duggar is right there at the top.
Yes.
He's been a very highly productive player all year long. That's why we try to mention it as many times as possible, because sometimes they weren't always playing the best defense, but he was doing outstanding work on individual basis week after week for that defense.
We're going to talk about the Cajuns in just a moment, but let's focus on the Warhawks real quick because it's in-state rivalry. And look, I'm not trying to buy into the hype. I believe Bryant Vincent, the way he's tried to handle it with phase 1 and phase 2. You look at the touchdown or less losses they've had this year. They've been in a lot of games. They've got a lot of freshmen. They've got a lot of sophomores, like their quarterback, who had an outstanding day. We might be looking back on this year in a year or two and going back to when he said, remember this year because they're going to grow. And they're going to learn from this because what a performance from them. They've struggled to get in the win column, but you go down against your biggest rival, you could play spoiler, and they were this close to getting it done.
And it was close. So we just talked about the springboard of the last game of the year, how it can go into next year and how that happened with Southern in the Grambling game. I know that the Warhawks lost, but you look at offensive performance. They struggled a lot offensively this year, but in this game, 516 yards of offense and 29 first downs against the Ragin Cajuns at home on senior day, last game of the year for those guys at home. So I think if you're encouraged by anything from this Warhawks team after that game is the offensive output and how that finally came alive.
Their defense has been rather steady throughout the season, but they're young at quarterback, they're young at running backs, and the best wide receiver young. They're all coming back. So there's a lot of experience. On the other side now for the Cajuns, again, you look at what they were able to do to get this win, and what a story to have Walker Howard come back. You talk about full circle. It's not the best story in college football. It's one of them to go home only to leave in the first game of the season because of injury, watch Lunch Winfield take this team over, but then when he gets banged up, you go right back to Walker Howard. 44 passing yards, 33 rushing yards, including some very big plays, Scott, like the 3rd and 8 and the first play in overtime that went for 20.
Yeah, he did an outstanding job stepping in. This is the toughest thing as a football player, the roller coaster of emotions you go through. He's a starting quarterback, come home, feel good story. Lunch takes over, produces well. He doesn't know if he's going to get back on the field. And the hardest thing as a player is to continue to prepare for your moment of opportunity. Continue to prepare. You don't know if that opportunity is going to come. The opportunity came for him yesterday to prove that he could still lead this team to a victory, got his moment, and led his team to a victory.
And I think the other things that you don't always see when it's on the field is when you looked at him and you looked at Lunch Winfield's success. Walker Howard was already right there. He was never sulking like, well, there goes my opportunity. Once again, I'm not going to play. He was always there supporting the guy that picked the team up. Then when he needed to be picked up, Walker came right back to do it.
Yeah, positive attitude. I think that all starts with the head coach. Coach Desormeaux does an outstanding job. Just that leadership ability to resonate throughout the rest of your team. That attitude affects effort, and effort affects the outcome of how we do this year. And it's always tough. It's easy to tell players over and over again, you need to have the positive attitude. You need to believe you're the guy. But I think that's just an example that they have the right culture in that locker room.
Here's a look at their schedule and what they were able to do, because, again, we take it back 1 month ago. You go on the road and you lose at Troy. You now know you have 4 games in a bye week and you have 2 wins. 2 of those games are on the road. You went right back to Alabama outside of Mobile to get the win against South Alabama. Then that tough one against Texas State. Then you go to Arkansas State last week to eke one out, and then you eke one out at home against a big rival in state in UL Monroe. What a way to finish for Desormeaux. It would have been very easy, Scott, and understandable between having to go through 3 quarterbacks, the injuries that they've had all season long. You're picked to win the West. You're nowhere close to it. You know what? White flag it. We're just writing this off. And here they are now, bowl eligible for the 8th straight season.
Yeah, speaks a lot about the leadership of Coach Desormeaux, speaks a lot about the character of the guys he has in that locker room, because to your point, they had a goal. They want to make a bowl game. They want to win a certain amount of games. They won 4 games in a row, 2 on the road, and a rivalry game. So they ended the season. They're on the upswing, and you want to carry that into next season too.
Yeah, an outstanding effort by them, an outstanding close of the season for the Warhawks. But the Cajuns, congratulations, 4 in a row, and for the 8th straight season, bowl eligible. 1 week ago, the Bulldogs from Louisiana Tech became bowl eligible, and look what they went to play in. That looks like fun, doesn't it? They were on the road at Missouri State, and how about this 4 minutes into the game? That is Andrew Burnett, who has 5 touchdowns in his last 2 games, and that is a 98-yard touchdown run. The second in school history, over 90 yards, and Louisiana Tech has a 7-0 lead, and congratulations to the Bulldog fans who made the trip to go sit in that weather. Trey Kukuk getting the start again at quarterback, rolling out, looking for help, goes back the other way. Nice little screen pass, and we've got ourselves a wall. Nice break. Clay Tevin makes a huge pickup for the Bulldogs in the bad weather. We go to the second quarter. Kukuk with a little handoff, and just like that, the Bulldogs are up 14-0 as Burnett once again gets it into the end zone. But Missouri State, they're going to come back 14-3 now, almost the end of the first half. Big pass down the middle to give them really good field position. Not great weather to be throwing the ball, but they were chucking it around on this drive and eventually get it into the end zone. It's 14-10 after Ronnie Robinson hits Jacob Clark hits Robinson, and it's 14-10. Now Missouri State tries the fake punt. Boom! Look at the pop right there. He was going to come up about 4 yards short, but the fumble sets up Louisiana Tech when they tried to pull the fake. All the Bulldogs had gone the other direction, but it wasn't good enough, and Louisiana Tech was able to make the stop Then it's back to the ground game. And boy, Louisiana Tech on the ground Saturday afternoon shows you how to do it in bad weather. Kukuk makes the cut, cuts back across the grain, gets it down inside the 10-yard line, no problem. Bulldogs getting close, and then on 1st and goal, Kukuk keeps it, and it's now 21-10. Louisiana Tech is on top. Midway through the third quarter, back from Missouri State. A little slip, then a little move, and then a sprint to the end zone, and that's going to be good. Shamari Lawrence takes it 56 yards up the middle, and that makes it 21-17. As good as Tech was on the ground, Missouri State was hanging in there, but Tech's going to score it again because Kukuk's going to score again. Wraps up a 16-play, 78-yard drive to make it 28-17. That's what you would call a blown coverage.
That is the definition of a blown coverage right there. There's got to be somebody in the screenshot of a receiver.
Jerron Askren goes 75 yards on the blown coverage, and it's Missouri State's right back in at 28-23. But they have to kick it off, and that was a mistake because they went to Devin Gandy, and he's gone. 93 yards, he takes the kick right back. So no sooner does Missouri State make it a 5-point game, but right back on top of the scoreboard as Gandy gets into the end zone to make it 35-23. That is still the score. When Missouri State gets it in on the right side to make it 35-30, that's Ramon Green from 12 yards out. But for Louisiana Tech, you go to your star of the game, and that's your quarterback, and that's Trey Kukuk. Watch him keep, fakes out everybody, and now he's gone. That's a 58-yard touchdown for your quarterback, getting the job done and putting this thing away to give Louisiana Tech 7 wins on the season in miserable conditions. 42-30 is your final score as the Bulldogs end the season with back-to-back wins. Here's Sonny Cumbie on the field after the game.
A great job in the re-game. Offensive line dominated. He did a phenomenal job with his eyes, finished plays, and he has the heart of the champion, man. And a guy that got benched early in the year and comes back and does like he does, I'm just fired up for him. You can throw all the stats out the window. Our guys got average today. Our guys fought their tails off all season long. They battled, came out in these conditions, and physically dominated a football team on their home turf because that's the type of football team that we are.
Yeah.
Coach Cumbie's fired up.
He's fired up with that win at Missouri State, 42-30. Look at the rushing yards, 388 for Louisiana Tech overall. But look at your quarterback. Trey Kukuk has 16 carries for $172. He ran by himself for 50 more yards than Missouri State ran as a team. He also threw in 87 passing yards in miserable conditions. But congratulations to Louisiana Tech for getting the 12-point win. Next TBA, they will await a bowl invitation. But look, it goes back to what we talked about at the beginning of this season on our first edition of Game Notes when we heard from Sonny Cumbie. Last year they went to the Independence Bowl by default. Independence Bowl needed a team. They were close. They had 5 wins. They invited them. They lost big in that ball game. But remember what he said. We went to this bowl game, and our players now know what it takes to get there. You went from that to now winning 7 wins and being bowl eligible on your own for the first time since 2019.
And thank goodness they accept that bowl invitation. I've seen teams not accept bowl invitations at the end of the year, and it's absolutely crazy. It's an entire month to evaluate your players, for them to get more experience in your program, and they took advantage of that moment. Yes, didn't win the game, but I think coming into this year, the preseason, listen to Coach Cumbie talk, we want to defend our home field. They certainly did that. Had some road struggles, lost some close games, but this is how you finish on the road. I think the most impressive stat to me in that game, besides the rushing yards, was outstanding. No turnovers. No turnovers in that type of weather is a heck of a job by his team.
Well, and they also didn't put the ball in the air a lot, so it speaks highly to your point about running backs and your quarterback holding on to the ball. They didn't throw it a lot, but they pounded, and what a game for Trey Kukuk. Here's another quarterback story. Yeah. We just talked about one, right? Down in left. Yeah. Kukuk has the chance to start the season, but then Blake Baker makes his way in, and then he starts. Then he goes down. So you bring in another quarterback who the next week, he goes down. So Kukuk, you start here, you came down here, now you're back up. You know what he's done in back-to-back games? Set quarterback rushing records for Louisiana Tech, because here's a look at what he did yesterday. And again, in those miserable conditions, but just leading the charge. Scott, he showed patience. He showed his ability to run. So now when you have 2 outstanding running backs already, and now your quarterback can do this, what kind of a challenge and pressure does that put on defense, knowing you have to defend a running quarterback?
Oh, it's tough playing defense against a running quarterback. You have to, now it's truly 11-on-11 defense. Usually you like those pocket passing guys who can sit back there, but when the quarterback can utilize their legs, it changes everything you're doing from a defensive standpoint. You can't really keep 2 safeties deep. You have to crowd the box. And yesterday, even though they were crowding the box, Louisiana Tech still did a good job running. And another thing, you know, this young man came over from a junior college out of California. Sometimes it takes time for a staff to learn what you can do well. And he's shown the last 2 games. Yesterday, the conditions were ideal for him to run the ball, but he's shown I can use my legs. Utilize me in some form or fashion. He's here next year, and maybe he's not the starting quarterback. I don't know. There's got to be a package for a guy who can run the football like that.
And Andrew Brunette also had 134 yards rushing. Remember, he had the big game 1 week ago, including the game-winning touchdown in overtime to seal 6 wins. Yesterday, he runs for 134 and 2 touchdowns, and Kukuk runs for 172 and 3 touchdowns. So 5 touchdowns all on the ground between your quarterback and now a young man who's emerging as one of your he hadn't even been the best running back all year.
Yeah.
He's got 5 touchdowns in 2 games.
Yeah, well, I think you can talk about the running game, but you can't forget to talk about, I think, we said it earlier this year, Coach Cumbie's done an outstanding job. He's from the high-flying Texas Tech offense. Throwing the ball is what's in his DNA. He has formulated this team around the defense was playing well early. Let's run the football. Credit to the offensive line. The offensive line did an outstanding job. It doesn't matter who you have back there to put up those type of running yards. You have to control the line of scrimmage. So outstanding job by the offensive line coach and the offensive lineman.
Here's a look at their schedule and what Louisiana Tech has done. And again, down the stretch, remember they had many opportunities to get that 6th win, but you go to Delaware, you lose on a late field goal after that, a ridiculous onside kick. The next week you go to the Great Northwest where you had a tough outing, a loss there. So now you're still sitting on 5 wins, but you get the win at home for your best record at home since 2019. You become bowl eligible for the first time since 2019, and then you wrap it up with a very impressive win on the road. And before we wrap things up on Louisiana Tech, and you just touched on it, special teams has been outstanding, the punt returns and the kick returns, but that defense has been one of the best, and we have focused on them for much of this season, what they have done. They have led Conference USA for much of the year, but the defensive play, even when you lost your best defender back in El Paso, end of September, that defense has really played well.
Yeah, they went through a couple games of learning how to adjust to life without your best player on defense, just like most teams would. You lose, just like losing a quarterback on offense, you have to find a different way to utilize different guys on the defense. So a little bit of a lull after that, but really ramped up again at the end of the season. We're playing some of their best football, taking the football away and holding offenses down.
The first game in the state of Louisiana for our teams that was played on Saturday was actually a playoff game. It was a noon kickoff at Strawberry Stadium because we're talking FCS playoffs. The Lions from Southeastern got the number 16 seed, and they played a team very familiar with postseason. The Redbirds from Illinois State, they came in as the number 17 seed. Not an official seed, but they came in looking to pull the upset in Hammond, Louisiana. Hammond, America, as they like to say. So here we go to the campus of Southeastern. First play of the game. Tommy Rittenhouse was an outstanding quarterback for Illinois State. Hits Dylan Lord 26 yards up the middle, and Illinois State showed they were coming to play early. Big gain for him. Then 3 plays later, Rittenhouse to Daniel Sopkowitz, 37 yards here, and now the Redbirds, just like that, are inside the 10-yard line. Next play, Rittenhouse fakes the handoff, looks, waits, runs. 6 yards for the touchdown. 6 plays, 80 yards, and 2 minutes and 7 seconds to open up the ball game. Here comes Southeastern. Kyle Lowe at quarterback to DeAndre Jackson. Little swing out left, and Jackson good for 11 yards, and he gets the first down for the Lions. 4th and 6 early in the ball game, going for it on a 4th and 6, but they do. And Lowe waits, keeps. This is what he does so well. He runs, and he gets 26 yards on the 4th and 6 inside the 20 for the Lions. First play of the second quarter, Guillermo Garcia Rodriguez caps the drive with a 40-yard field goal. It was 16 plays, 69 yards, and ate up over 7 minutes. Boy, you really could have used the touchdown, but they'll take the 3 points down just 7-3. Second quarter, Carson Camp in at quarterback to Cade Collier. That's good for 12 yards across the middle. Then Camp up the middle to Lonnie Shin Jr. And the Lions, once again, on the move. 3rd and 4, Jaden Henry from around midfield. Breaks 1 tackle, cuts up the middle. That's good for 10 yards. But the problem for the Lions, as much offense as they were getting, they couldn't convert when they needed it the most. Like here, 4th and 3, Kyle Lowe keeps it, but the pressure is there by the Redbirds, and it stopped. A lot of yards gained, but once they got inside the 20, things fell apart for the Lions. Early 3rd now, Camp would like this one back. It's still 7-3, but he throws off his back foot, and he's picked off by Shadwell Nubu, who returns it 28 yards for the Redbirds. The Lions stopped the Redbirds on 3 goal line plays. So on 4th down, instead of settling for a field goal, they go trick play, and they throw it back to their quarterback in Rittenhouse, who catches it for the touchdown. It's a play the coach said afterwards, we've been sitting on that one waiting. Mom was like, that's my boy, and it's 14-3 Redbirds. But here come the Lions once again. Braden Hayes takes it to the sideline, almost breaks it, but no, the official says he stepped out of bounds for Brandon Hayes. 3 plays later, Camp to Dekai Joseph, but this pass is picked off by Mr. Everything, all-everything linebacker, Tiny Camp. Breaks it for the Lions offense as he gets the interception, but the defense holds, and it's still 14-3. Camp back to pass. This one deflected and picked off again. Look at Ike, he can't believe it. We got that. It was one of those days for the Lions. It would lead to a Seth Glatz touchdown who takes it in from 1 yard out. That makes it 21-3. That's it, and that's all. As the Redbirds come on the road and get the win, 21-3 over Southeastern, as the Lions end the season at 9-4. Illinois State improves to 9-4. The Lions had more total yards, but it was the penalties and the mistakes. 14 points off of Lion turnovers for the Redbirds. They now advance to take on the #1 overall seed and a conference opponent in North Dakota State. That game will be played Saturday. Afterwards, here's comments from Southeastern head coach Frank Scelfo.
Turn the football over, like, it's just not going to get the at-bats. You're not going to, when you give them those opportunities. But our defense really played well today. We gave up the 7 points early, and then after that was a dogfight, right? Going back and forth. Couldn't get anything going on offense, and we turned the football over. And we can all use these moments as teachable moments moving forward to say, you've got to take care of the football. That's so critical in whatever we're doing. You know, this game, we're not going to measure our team on this game. You know, you'll hear the outside noise, and maybe some of you guys will create the outside noise. But this team was, man, it's just 2025 was a hell of a run for us. We really did. It was this is a great bunch of human beings that I was working with. These men worked their tails off every day from January on, or even before that, we found out we weren't making the playoffs last year. But what they did, what they've done, and how they've handled themselves throughout the course of the season, the ups and downs, and mostly ups when you have a team like that. Just so proud of them. So it was fun. As a head coach, these are the guys you want to surround yourself with, and they set the foundation for this entire program moving forward. And it's an honor. It really is to be able to be a part of this organization.
26 seniors on this Lions squad. To his point about setting a foundation, you had the Defensive Player of the Year. You had the overall Conference Player of the Year. Both of them came from defense. But, Scott, it's one of those things where you can accept the loss, but isn't it easier to accept the loss knowing you took everything, you shot all the bullets you had out of the chamber, they just beat you? Because that was an offensive performance we really haven't seen all season long by the Lions to lose like that. Yeah,
they were struggling a little bit late in the year offensively. This team was really kind of carried by the defense all year long. Special teams was playing great. So offensively, there were a few concerns, but you didn't see this team shoot themselves in the foot and create their own problems. Turn the football over 4 times yesterday, 4 interceptions. That was really the story of the game. And we talked about Illinois State is a heck of a road team. So if you give a road team that's coming into people's buildings and they're not scared to play on the road, obviously based on their record, plus you give them the football, that's tough to overcome.
And take a look at some of the miscues, because there were some other things besides the interceptions. Obviously, those were obvious when you have those 4. But this is one thing that Frank Scelfo was telling me earlier this week when he and I had a chance to talk. He can handle a holding or a face mask if it happens, but it's this. You're inside the 20 and you get a procedure. This is the very next play. So you had to delay a game. You've got a procedure. You've lost 10 yards in the same series. You're inside the 20. Now you're almost to the 30. You have to settle for a field goal. The penalties got to him with those, and then it was the interceptions. Again, to your point, we just haven't seen him have this many mistakes overcome. It's a talented team, but it hurts to know that you didn't give it your best shot, because we have seen this offense on fire, and they are fun to watch. Yesterday, that fire just wasn't there.
No, it wasn't, and it's you demoralize a little bit when you turn the football over, because it's one less opportunity. Now you're back watching your defense out on the field. You're sitting on the sideline. I think there's a lot of upside for this program. I think going into next year, both quarterbacks they play this year are both underclassmen. If they're both back, continue to do the 2-quarterback system. But I think there were a lot of big plays this year. They have mismatches that they like offensively. I think they just ran into a really good football team that much like, go back to the Patriots days, they're going to force you to beat them, and if you beat yourself, it's going to be a long day for you.
Yeah, Illinois State came in on the road, and look, they felt like they should have been hosting because they play in the toughest conference in the country in FCS. But they came on the road. They got the job done. That's why they advanced to take on #1 North Dakota State for the Lions. It was an excellent year that just fell up short, but a lot to build on as they start moving into next season. Down in New Orleans Saturday night, 1 win separated the Tulane Green Wave from hosting the American Conference Championship down at Yulman Stadium, taking on 1-win Charlotte. You saw John Sumrall getting his team pumped up early. Jamari McClure up the middle for 25 yards. Leg day, leg day, leg day, leg day. Dragging bodies, 7 extra yards when they're trying to bring him down. Then Jake Retzlaff to Amari Hayes. Watch this. Spins around. Watch Retzlaff. Follow me. Follow me. Here we go. Come this way. He tries to set a block, and he does right there. Gets it all the way down to the 1-yard line. After all that work, he handed off to Jaden Gordon, and he gets it in. 7 plays, 65 yards for 2:26 off the clock. Tulane has the early lead. Next drive, it's Gordon. Left side, turns it up the middle. That's good for 21 yards. Jake Retzlaff caps this one off. I tell you what, if you want almost a lock, if you can bet on individuals, Retzlaff scoring a touchdown is it.
Every week. He seems to find the end zone, doesn't he?
I think it's 8 out of 11 games. Every week he gets into the end zone. It's 14-0. That's his 14th rushing touchdown, by the way. That sets a quarterback record at Tulane. Second quarter, about to make it 21-0, but Retzlaff is picked off in the back of the end zone. Caden Schmitz gets it. He brings it out for Charlotte, gets it out past the 20-yard line. So you're about to make it 21-0. Now it's still 14-0 after the turnover, but Charlotte's offense couldn't do anything. So next possession, Tulane gets it. Jamari McClure coughs it up. Tylen Baldwin recovers it. He brings it back 33 yards. But again, Charlotte's offense not very good. Retzlaff with the tackle inside the 15. They don't score. Third quarter, now it's 21-0 Tulane. Jamari McClure, he will get it. This time he will hold on to it, and he goes right side for 25 yards to get Tulane away from the shadows of its own end zone. This drive goes all the way into the fourth quarter, and that's when Patrick Durkin, who, by the way, missed his second field goal of the season, it was from around 50. He makes this one good from 36, and it's 24-0 Tulane. In the fourth quarter, near midfield, Retzlaff to Trey Shackelford. This is going to go 17 yards left side. Good field position here. The drive stall, so let's go ahead and bring in Mr. Almost Automatic, and that's Durkin. This time it's from 52, and it is good. And you don't think John Sumrall appreciates him, even though he tried to downplay him? Here comes Sumrall. Chest, baby! Chest bumping his kicker. Tulane wins it, and they will host the title game. But the post game from this one, with Tulane winning 27-0, look at this. Rushing yards. Charlotte on the game, -3. Yo. Retzlaff throws for 291, 2 interceptions, no touchdowns. They will play North Texas at Yeoman Stadium, scheduled for 7 o'clock Friday night in the American Championship. So a nice win, and you're advancing to the championship. But the postgame was all about John Sumrall and his future.
I want tonight to be about this team. You know, I'll talk to David Harris a little bit tonight, and then my wife and I will talk in the morning. And, you know, any opportunities I ever have, it's really got a lot to do with so many other people other than myself. I love this place. I love Tulane. You know, I want to coach this team no matter what, because this, you know, this is this team. And like the goofy part of these opportunities that present these days, anything you entertain, you're entertaining for coaching a team next year, not this year. And so I don't like how it all lays out, but yeah, like I want to coach this team the rest of the, like we're playing for a championship, which we are next year. I want to coach. I love these guys. I love what we're doing. I want to coach this thing out no matter what comes next.
It means the most, and we're blessed as a team. I'm blessed to have a coach like Coach Sumrall. And yeah, I'm just real blessed. We're all blessed.
You know, we excited about hosting the conference championship, but with Coach Lane, we just worry about UNT. You know, we just worry about the championship game, win that, and then we worry about that later.
You could tell on Saturday night, listening to John Sumrall, that was a different coach from what we heard a month ago. A month ago, it was, I'm not interested in any of this stuff. I love this city. I love where I coach. I want to stay. I have no other interest. Last night, you could tell that was a coach who was leaving.
Yeah.
Why? Because money can talk, and the big schools came a-calling.
Yeah.
Since that was recorded on Saturday night after the game, and us sitting here now, it's now reported that John Sumrall has agreed to leave Tulane. He will be going to the University of Florida and joining the SEC as the new head coach of the Gators, reportedly a 6-year deal worth about $7.5 million per. You can like it all you want, but sometimes when the big schools come, Scott, and they've got unlimited of this, it can change your mind in a hurry, and it did for John Sumrall.
And certainly, I don't think anybody can blame Coach Sumrall for taking advantage of the opportunity that was presented to him and going to the SEC and coaching one of the premier football programs in the country. It's just a disappointing part of this job is, and you know, you can see it in Coach Sumrall's face there. Like he's preached since the time he's got here to do the things that he wants to get done to his players, the type of culture he wants to have, and then the opportunity like this presents itself, and it messes all that up before the season's over. I hate the timing of a lot of this. We're seeing it with LSU as well. These kids, they do everything that these coaches ask for them to do, and they're trying to win a championship, and they're trying to go undefeated, and they're trying to do all the things the right way, and then the timing of everything just throws a wrench in it.
It looks like as of now he will coach the team Friday night. Let's look ahead for just a second because they do have a conference championship. Here's the matchup for what's going to be taking place Friday night at Yeoman Stadium because they earn the right to be at home. Boy, North Texas, Scott, they can move the ball all over the field. They're 11-1 on the season. Now their head coach is leaving also. He's going to Oklahoma State, but they've already made the agreement. He will keep coaching North Texas until they're done. It looks like Tulane might do the same thing with John Sumrall. They're hosting their third title game in 4 seasons. Mestamaker, 3,800 passing yards. He leads the NCAA. That game will be on ABC. So you come off of where you have your first home conference shutout with that win against Charlotte. First home shutout, you ready for this? 1954, when they played Alabama, when they were in a different league, altogether. You're 6-0 at home for the first time you are for Tulane since 1998. And in the last 4 seasons, Willie Fritz, John Sumrall, 29-3. That's a 90.6 winning percentage. You know who's better? Georgia, 90.9. Tells you about what Tulane has going on. And to Tulane's credit, they put it out there and said, we know people are looking at our coach. We have made a good offer. But let's be fair. Tulane and the American is not SEC money. It just isn't. They let them know, we're trying to make an offer, but the bigger schools called, the opportunity calls. I would love to see Sumrall get them. If they can get the win, stay with the team. It might be tough to do because of recruiting, but this team has earned it. They have put themselves in position to move forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you look at this game, it's a matchup of 2 teams whose head coaches are parting ways. Eric Morse is going to Oklahoma State. Coach Sumrall will be at Florida. So no excuses there. Both teams have to find a way to focus. But if I'm Tulane looking at this game, the first thing I'm doing, and I'm sure North Texas is doing, is they're going to look at that UTSA game. Because Tulane had a hard time stopping UTSA in that passing offense. Owen McCown that night, I think he was 32 of 34 passing. And North Texas can put the ball up with the best of them. The ball's going to fly all around. So 2 outstanding coaches who have earned their right for their next position in big-time college football. But this is going to be a great game. It's going to be one of the best matchups of the weekend.
Well, we'll see what happens with Tulane. Meanwhile, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the circus. That is LSU football. Let's get to the game first that was played on Saturday in Norman, Oklahoma. LSU has beaten Oklahoma the last 3 times. Last season, in the regular season in Baton Rouge. They also wound up beating them, remember, in 2019 playoffs, and then they beat them in the national championship. But let's move for LSU highlights against Oklahoma and show you what they were able to do in Norman against the Sooners for the first time playing up there, where Oklahoma, hey, look, they are in position right now for the playoffs. So LSU could play spoiler if they could get the win, but we know how LSU has struggled. 3 plays into the game for OU's opening drive. How about Harold Perkins with the interception and a great return, 44 yards, and the defense sets LSU up at the 5-yard line. So here comes LSU's offense. First play, Oklahoma takes it right back. Michael Van Buren throws it in the end zone, and he's picked off by Peyton Bowen. Why LSU doesn't run is beyond me, Scott, and we don't have enough time on the show to talk about why they keep relying on this, but they did. So Oklahoma gets it right back. Mateer now to Giovanni Gibson. 27 yards, and the Sooners are moving. It leads to a 38-yard Tate Sandell field goal, and it's 3-0 Oklahoma. Early second quarter, Damian Ramos, who's been outstanding in his career for the Tigers, he makes this little chip shot from 25 yards out, and it's 3-3. Third quarter, it's the SEC, Scott. It means more. It's still 3-3 in the third as we pick it up for the offensive juggernaut that is Oklahoma LSU. Mateer looking long, picked off by A.J. Halsey, and he brings it back 42 yards to set up LSU. Great return. LSU's offense now on the field, and Van Buren this time keeps it, picks up a key block, and there he goes. Right side gets it all the way down to the 1-yard line. He dives to the pylon, but he's out at the 1. So LSU now has it at the goal line. So what do? Of course it's a quick pass, but this time it works. Xavion Thomas takes it in. It's 10-3. LSU up on the road. Brent Venable is chewing someone out on the headphones. End of the third quarter. Mateer, the quick hit to Deion Burks, and Burks, hello, where's everybody? He's gone. 45 yards, and we're tied at 10. Fourth quarter now. Tigers, they're going to try to get a little tricky, and it's not going to work because they're going to try to toss it back, but the Oklahoma defense is there to mess things up. It's a fumble and a loss of 17. So Ramos comes in, and from 45 yards out, he's good, and it's a 3-0 lead for the Tigers. But under 5 minutes to play, Scott, again, the definition of a blown coverage, hello. There isn't a defender between Norman and Stillwater.
It looks like there's a hard time covering the seam route, and I don't understand why these people are running so wide open.
58 yards on that touchdown pass. Now it's 4th and 2. You can't settle for a field goal. You've got to get a first down, keep this thing going. But Van Buren's pass is knocked down. Oklahoma celebrates because they stay at number 8. They're not going to the SEC championship, which pretty much means they're a lock for the playoffs. They'll just wait and see what happens to everybody else. 17-13 is your final score. LSU throws for $113. Oklahoma 318. Third down conversions, again, a struggle for LSU. Just 2 of 14, while Oklahoma goes 4 for 15. You got to say it. You didn't want to see this. I never thought we'd see this on the scoreboard, Scott, but it's true. Against FBS opponents this season, LSU's offense did not get north of 25 in a single game. Interim head coach Frank Wilson talking about the distractions in the coaching position after the game.
They're human, right? And that device they carry with them, Jock, all the time. And so I don't know. They don't necessarily bring it to us, but certainly there's probably not a person involved in sports that hasn't seen the topic, if you will, of what's going to happen with the LSU job. I don't think they're immune to it, although I don't think it's taken their undivided attention. But those are the distractions and some of the things that we continually had to deal with, fight with, manage as we prepare for this game as well. I love LSU, and as long as LSU will have me, I'd love to be a part of what we're doing here.
We'll get to topic du jour, the coaching here in just a moment. But, Scott, I'm not sure when Brian Kelly left last season saying we're taking receipts, we'll see you in the national championship, I'm not sure any of us knew we'd be sitting here at the end of November with a team that can't score 25 points, a Heisman Trophy candidate quarterback that was more than 2,000 yards short of what he was a year ago, a team that went 7-5, now looking for a head coach. I don't know where to start with it, but there's just a lot that needs to be fixed.
Yeah, there are a lot of questions after this season because I think there were high hopes for everybody. Everybody expected this team, especially when you go back to look at Game 1 against Clemson on the road, big-time win. The defense looked outstanding, and everybody was riding LSU into the college football playoff and possibly the national championship. The quarterback play, Nuss was banged up all year. We don't know the extent of his injuries he was playing through. Wasn't able to get the running game going. You and I sat here. You've had the two most highly touted recruiting running backs in the last two classes, Harlem Berry and Cam Durham. You don't run the football. You can't run the football. But I think what you can't lose sight of is for LSU, no matter who is standing on that sideline, to get back to being what they need to be. Yes, the quarterback position, the O-line and the D-line need to get much better to compete in the SEC and to compete for national championships.
I don't think there was enough focus put on the offensive line when 3 of your players from last year are playing on Sundays and getting paid in the NFL. That's a big loss to try to help your quarterbacks. You also found out Michael Van Buren can fill in, but passing-wise to keep that game going, I'm not sure if he's the guy moving forward with the numbers and what he was able to do as much as Garrett Nussmeier has been struggling. But, of course, all the focus for LSU has been in Oxford, Mississippi, where the Ole Miss Rebels won on Friday in the Egg Bowl against Mississippi State. That has launched them into a lock for being in the playoffs, and they currently are sitting as the number 5 seed. Lane Kiffin has been the target for LSU. The question was he going to be able to coach the team in the Egg Bowl? They let him do that. Now he wants to coach the team throughout. It has been a wild 24 hours since Saturday night to where we are here on Sunday. And the latest reports are he was set to have a team meeting on Sunday morning at 10 o'clock. That got pushed back. Lane Kiffin reportedly has told his staff, if you're coming with me, you're getting on a plane right now. If not, you're not coming to Baton Rouge when I get there. He's coming to Baton Rouge. We don't know what kind of staff he's going to have with him, Scott. And Ole Miss is playing hardball. They don't want him to go to LSU but still coach Ole Miss and poach. But he's going to be poaching anyway, which, let's be honest, the biggest loser in this, the Rebels from Ole Miss, who are having an unbelievable season that now might not even know who's on their staff to coach in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's disappointing, especially when you look at it from a timeline perspective. What these guys have been able to accomplish going into the college football playoff and possibly not having their head coach and other coaches there, it's not fair to them. And the timing, this whole thing needs to get worked out. But again, you're dealing with class start, fall classes and spring classes. You can't just keep pushing everything back. That's the disappointing part of it. But it doesn't seem like it was just yesterday. We're sitting here talking about these college coaching contracts and how crazy they are. But when you don't score more than 25 points against an FBS opponent all year, you'll do crazy things and hire an offensive mastermind, and that's certainly what Lane Kiffin is.
Well, we'll see how many people from Louisiana, whether it's the university or government and politics overall, since they jumped into this fray about a month and a half ago, will sign off on it. But the reports are for Lane Kiffin, 7 years, $90 million with incentives. So you just fired a coach 10 years, $100 million to bring in a coach 7 years, $90 million, and a reported guarantee of being north of 20 to 25 million in NIL, which takes us back to this year. You spent $18 million on this year's roster, and you went 7-5. So what's the timeline and the patience for a Lane Kiffin to come in here with this salary and that kind of money? Is it 2 years? Is it 3 years? Do you go 9-3? Is it a failure? I mean, that's where this is all going.
Yeah, I think year one you give a little bit of a buffer, but there's no doubt when you're making that much money and you are sought after the way he's being sought after, year two, it's college football playoff for bust. And it's not like they're going to fire Lane Kiffin after year two, but it'd be a disappointment if you don't see LSU in the college football playoff in year two. I just think that's where the whole thing is going. And if I'm Ole Miss, I'm saying whatever LSU's paying you, we'll pay it to you, because you know what? You're not going to get your name on their field or their stadium. You have an opportunity at Ole Miss to do that here. So it kind of surprises me that push wasn't made, or maybe it's just Lane saying, hey, I want to go coach down there in Death Valley.
And I think, in my opinion, I think a lot of it has to do with recruiting, too, because everybody wants to come to Louisiana to recruit. If you're at the flagship school in the university with 100,000 in the stadium, maybe you feel like you can get the kids and get it done. But here's the deal. You win 9 or 10 at Oxford, you're doing great. You win 11 or 12, you get a statue. You come to LSU, you win 9 wins, you're going to say next year if you don't do better, we're going to get you fired.
That's exactly
So we'll
right.
find out. All we can say is stay tuned. We might see a press conference on Monday for Southern with a new head coach, LSU with a new head coach. We'll all see what happens. But bottom line, don't forget, these Tigers are going bowling. We just have to wait a week and see how it's going to all turn out. So, hey, look, it has been a great year. We thank you for joining us for Game Notes here on LPB. We'll be back for a postseason show later on. But for Scott Shanley, I'm Victor Howell. Goodbye, everybody.
Major production funding for Game Notes is provided by Hargrove Engineers and Constructors is proud to support LPB since 1995. Hargrove has been employee-owned and relationship-driven. With 2,700 teammates around the world, Hargrove works as one team to go beyond expectations.
You have what it takes to begin your journey: curiosity, ingenuity, intellect, determination. Through a vast portfolio of affordable and in-demand academic programs, hundreds of student-focused activities, and wraparound services, Southern University meets you where you are, giving you the tools and support that lead you to a successful career in the sciences or the arts. Begin with your goals anywhere. Finish stronger at Southern University at subr.edu.
The Rolf Pugh Agency is proud to support this program. Based in Louisiana, Rolf Pugh has provided marketing services nationwide since 1981, partnering with clients in healthcare, retail, automotive, and more. For more information, visit rpagency.com.
With additional support from Lafayette Travel, the LSU Alumni Association, and the Cook Hotel and Conference Center at LSU, Louisiana Tech University, Natchitoches Regional Medical Center, Northwestern State University, Red Stick Sports, the U.S. Army Baton Rouge Recruiting Battalion, the Foundation for Excellence in Louisiana Public Broadcasting, and viewers like you. Thank you.